Hey Ashton, I wanted to know if I could touch base with you about something. I do only have about 15 minutes though, so it would be okay if we just talk real quick, and if we need to talk more later, we can.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. Since we do have just about 15 minutes, tell me a little bit about what you're hoping to get out of our conversation.
Well, that's a good question. I just want to make sure that you're aware of some things that are going on with the team.
Oh, okay.
And if we have time, maybe think about some ways I can handle things better. But I just feel like it's gotten difficult enough that probably I should get some more help. So we've been trying to deal with it internally, and I don't think it's really been working very well.
Okay, all right. So some strategies that you can think about managing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know, if you've been aware of the fact that, that David and Betsy are not getting along very well lately. There's been a lot of tension. In a nutshell, the project that you gave Betsy to manage, I think David thinks she's not doing a very good job with it. And so instead of talking to her about it, he's just kind of taking over.
Okay.
And so now they're both really frustrated with each other and kind of, passive aggressively undermining each other, and it's just made coming to work very unpleasant. I really don't want to be in the office. I'm out as much as I possibly can with my cases because I don't want to be here with the tension between the two of them.
Okay. Well, I really appreciate you sharing that with me. I've heard some things here and there, but I really didn't know what was going on, so I appreciate you bringing it up, and we can kind of think through together next steps. But so when you say he's taking over, tell me a little bit about what that looks like. What kinds of things is he doing? Or
Yeah. So one of the program manager actually heard about the project and was very interested in what was going on and came by our cubicle to ask some questions about the project. And instead of David saying, oh, well, you really should be talking to Betsy because this is her project, he just sort of acted as if he was doing it and talked about the way he thought that it should be run.
Okay.
And then I think he got a lot of praise came back through the grapevine about what a great job he's doing.
Okay.
And then Betsy was really upset because she felt like I could have done that and you should have referred him to me.
Okay.
And now he thinks that you're the star employee when in fact you're not doing this.
Right.
And so that's really what started it. And now, it's just things like if she brings something to the team, like a suggestion, here's what I think we should do,
Mm-hmm.
he always will say, no, I don't think that's a good idea. He just won't even listen to any of her ideas. He immediately shuts them down or even doesn't respond at all, won't respond to emails about it, things like that.
So these are things that it sounds like you've seen and noticed and heard about. What about other folks on the team in terms of, have they specifically talked with you about what they've seen? Or if I were to have a conversation with Sue and, with Taylor, what would they say?
Yeah, I think it's particularly challenging for me because I'm friends with both of them.
Okay.
So it's a little different depending on who you ask, but I would say that, everyone is frustrated with the tension.
Yes.
Probably Sue would say it's their issue, it's not my issue. I'm just going to do my job.
Okay.
It doesn't seem to bother her as much, although she certainly would like it not to be there, that tension not to be there.
Right.
So I think for me, I really feel like I'm being put in this position of being to take sides,
Mm-hmm.
right? So David keeps coming to me saying, don't you think it's stupid that I'm not the person on this, running this project? And then, Betsy keeps saying to me, can you believe how ridiculous he was? And if I really ask myself, I actually do think he stepped on her toes a little bit.
Okay.
And I've tried to say that to him, I understand you have this expertise, and I think you really needed to let her do it because the decision was not his to just, to take over. And I think that's made him really angry. And so now he's taking it out on us, and he's doing things that are really juvenile. He's unfriended me on Facebook, which, it's not a work thing, but it's just this really immature sort of stuff that just adds to the general level of tension, at the office.
Okay. So what about, so it sounds like you've tried talking to David about it. Have you tried, what have conversations been like when you've talked with Betsy about what's been going on?
I think I've just been very, I've listened a lot to her, for her, and I've been empathetic. I understand, I would frustrate me, and she's younger, so I think it's easy for her to get railroaded a lot by other people who don't think she's got the skill set that she has. So I do feel somewhat of a sense of, wanting to advocate for her. But at the same time, I think, she can advocate for herself. And I wish she would. I wish she would come talk to you. Okay. And I think that's what's been very frustrating to me about it.
Right. So it sounds like, based on everything that you said, that would it be fair to say that you feel kind of caught in the middle, and that it's been hardest for you of the team members because you're friends with both of them?
Definitely.
And it sounds like you've also tried to have conversations separately with both of them. And so now at this point you feel like, because it's causing you a lot of tension and not even wanting to be here and that sort of thing, that there needs to be some other steps or things to take place. Is that
Yeah, true? I do feel that way. I also am worried, I don't want them to see me as tattling on them. And so that's why I haven't brought it up in a staff meeting, because I haven't wanted it. It's not my responsibility to bring it up, and I don't want them to feel like I'm sort of pointing the finger at either one of them.
Right.
But at the same time, David refuses to come to lunch with us. He's really isolating himself from us socially. So I feel like I can't kind of informally try to have a conversation with us as a group.
Okay. So it sounds like there's been some things that you've tried that haven't been successful in having conversations with them. Has there been anything that you've tried or that they've tried individually that has worked so far in trying to work through the tension or make it better?
I think they're both trying to just avoid it. I wouldn't say that that's working, but I would say it minimizes the immediacy of them having, to kind of be in conflict. So they're just kind of avoiding each other.
Okay.
But that's not great for us, the rest of us.
Right. So let me ask a different question then. In the past, because I know they've worked together in the past and in different capacities, what has worked well for them being on the same team in the past?
That's a good question. And I think it's important because it's really surprising to me that it's the two of them, because I think they're both really smart.
Right.
And I feel like they've had a lot of respect for each other before.
Okay.
And so they've done a good job in the past sharing ideas. They're both very technology focused. So I think actually they were the two that really taught me how to work collaboratively, in a wiki space. And because I would always want to make sure, get someone's approval before I made any changes, and both of them were like, no, in this work you can just go in and make the changes yourself. So I feel like they trusted each other, particularly using technology and working on a project, to sort of say that, no, I want this change or that change, and I think they were fine with it.
Right.
I think that, I don't know, it's just this hasn't come up before with them. I'm not sure if there are other factors. I think they're both very upwardly mobile. They want to see themselves advance in the agency. So there's a competitiveness that comes with they're both wanting to be sort of the star.
Okay. So if this project were going especially well from your perspective, what exactly would that look like? Kind of what would you be doing? What would he be doing? What would Betsy be doing? And other team members? What would kind of that ideal picture look like, do you think?
Well, I think that one, we'd have some clear roles and responsibilities. I think there's been some, we tend to work very collaboratively, and that's never been a problem before, but now all of a sudden I think that's one of the things that happened, was that I think David just thought he was adding his 2 cents in, whereas Betsy felt like she was being taken over.
Right.
So there was some miscommunication there. So I
Okay.
think if there was clarity about who's doing what and how we're going to give input, that would probably help. I do think that if they both had opportunities to show their expertise
Okay.
in this same project,
Right.
so that they both felt like it was an opportunity to get some praise and sort of people to see that what they're good at, that would probably help.
Okay.
And I do think that some resolution of the hurt feelings needs to happen as well before they can move forward.
Okay. So if you were in my position, what would be kind of the first step that you would take from your perspective?
Well, I think I would talk to them each individually, and I would just let them know that you've gotten a sense that something's not working well between them. Try to get a sense first from each of them what's going on and what they need. I also think that there are some behaviors that David is demonstrating that are just not okay.
Okay.
But that's not up to me. But I think that's for you to decide. But I do think somebody kind of needs to say, these are acceptable ways of addressing your frustration, and these are not.
Right.
Within our team.
Right.
Yeah, I think I would, and then I would hopefully talk to them together at some point and try to resolve some of the miscommunication and the hurt feelings, I think.
Okay. Well, that makes sense. I appreciate you kind of bringing it to my attention. I know one of the things when we first sat down that you said, one of the hopes of the conversation is, what are some things that you could do? And so I'm curious in having this conversation, has anything come up for you that you think would be helpful for you to try in terms of helping feel less pressure?
Well, I think if I knew that you were going to get involved,
Okay.
it would be easier for me to, when one of them says, isn't this a bad thing or isn't this a good thing?
Right.
For me to say, I really don't want to be in the middle, and I really encourage you guys to talk to Ashton about this, because I would know that you would know what was going on, and I feel like I probably haven't done as good a job being neutral because I want to, make everything good.
Right.
So maybe just remembering that my job is not to fix it, and that I can see both the points of view, and that if they ask me direct questions, that I'm just not going to get involved in that as much as possible.
Okay. So any other support that you can think of that would be helpful for me, and helping you kind of take that step with them, other than obviously having the conversations with them? Is there anything else that I can support you with as we kind of work through this together?
Well, I think after you've had a chance to talk with them, and if you all come to some sort of resolution, I think it would be helpful for me, and I think probably the rest of the team too, to have a conversation together about it, because this isn't. I'm not saying that things like this have happened before, but things like this will come up again.
Sure.
Where people get hurt feelings, and it just seems like it's a skill set we could work on as a team for sure.
Yeah. And it sounds like you said, there's so many strengths that each of them have. If there's a way that we could have a conversation even as a team and say, so these are the strengths of workers, how can we make sure that we're utilizing everybody's strengths and doing that good collaboration that we were doing prior to this particular project coming up. So, because it sounds like prior to that, things, folks were really collaborating well, and there wasn't this issue of who's the lead on this project and who's not.
Right.
So if we can pull some of those things forward, that might be helpful. Okay.
Well, thanks. That helps. That helps a lot. I just feel so much better knowing that you at least have a sense of what's going on, and I'm not having to, shoulder the burden on my own.
Sure, absolutely. Well, I look forward to kind of talking with them and then talking with the team as a whole, and hopefully we'll see some changes and differences. So.
Okay, thanks.